Hey guys, Prowl 1701 here, and today we are at the final video in my ranking series where I've been ranking Doctor Who from worst to best, all of the TV episodes, some of the expanded material. There were 426 entries on this list. We are at the top 25, so I'm excited to talk about these. These are the best of the best. I hope you enjoy this video as much as I'm going to enjoy making it, I think. And we're going to start with number 25. And that is The War Games, Patrick Troughton's final story, an epic 10-part story. I enjoy it. Not just like, say, the last episode. I know a lot of people will say it's 9 episodes of filler and then a climactic 10th episode. I don't agree with that. I enjoy the story. I think it's paced fine. Yes, there is a lot of the getting captured, getting recaptured, escaping, getting recaptured. But, you know, it's nice how this story peels back like layers where you're slowly figuring out what's going on. I like the side characters in it, the guest actors in it. The location work is nice. I love some of the cliffhangers, especially that episode 9 cliffhanger when everything's going in slow-mo and they're running. I love that cliffhanger. I do enjoy episode 10 a lot. It's sad that Zoe and Jamie lose their memories. It's sad the second Doctor is forced to regenerate. I love seeing Bernard back in this as kind of the head Time Lord at the trial. I like him when he shows up in Doctor Who. His voice carries such a commanding presence. It really does. And then it's a really good ending with him just kind of spinning into the background, saying no. It's a neat way to end it. It's just a really well done story. I like the guy playing the war chief, who's kind of a proto-master in a way. The actor playing him nails it. And then, of course, we have Philip Maddock as the warlord, and he's always great when he's in Doctor Who, puts in another good performance. It's just a solid end to the second Doctor era, to 60s Doctor Who, and to the black and white era. Next on the list is The Happiness Patrol, the highest of the 7th Doctor stories. I just enjoy this one, especially the different versions of it we can watch on the box set now with the updated special effects, because the special edition and the regular version do feel drastically different. They have a very different feel to them. They're both very enjoyable. I love how it does its political satire. The Candyman design is interesting. Definitely interesting. And I think people can get caught up in that and get lost in how dark the subject matter is for this story, where it's a crime to be unhappy. So everybody has to put on a fake smile and be cheerful through even the dark times, which is something that is very relevant in current times, and especially here in the States has been probably since the pandemic hit, since around 2020, 2021. It's been a hard time for a lot of people, and I'm sure it's the same over in the UK and a lot of other places on the planet. So Happiness Patrol is a story that still resonates very clearly today. Helen A is great. Fifi's interesting. She's realized really well as a puppet. As a concept, just interesting. I do like that Helen A doesn't die, but that she ends up being unhappy when she finds out Fifi's died. That's just the perfect ending for her. And I like the fact that her husband and the guy who invented the Candyman leave together and steal the shuttle and leave her there. I like that. Good guest cast. I like the guy who's kind of the guy who's like the accountant. He's good. The blues guy with the harmonica, he's good. The one Happiness Patrol girl that actually is helping Ace, I like her. And then I also like the two that are very happy to be on the patrol. What happens if I try to get in this? Nothing. Yes, nothing. It's just I like how well it's put together. I really would like to see that noir kind of black and white version of it, to be honest. But it's a solid episode. With a really good political messaging done right. Next on the list is the legendary Caves of Androzani, the 5th Doctor's swan song. Peter Davison's best performance in the role, arguably. And it's a solid story. It's once again the legendary Robert Holmes at the top of his game. I believe Robert's on the record for saying that he felt the Fifth Doctor had it too easy, which I don't know if I agree with that, and that he really wanted to put him through hell, so to speak, for his final story, and he does. The case of Androzani is interesting because there's nobody's side for the Doctor to really be on, because all of the other sides are bad, or varying degrees of bad. There's like no good guys here for him to team up with. So you have like 4 different sides, and all of them are bad. And so his main goal is he has to get out. If you think about it in a way, Case of Androzani is almost like a First Doctor historical. It's just a historical for another planet, in a way. The Doctor and Perry end up there in a situation. They end up in a bad situation. Events are playing out the way events are going to play out, and they just got to get out of there. They got to get out of there as quick as possible. Because everything's coming to a head. The casting, again, good. The guy playing Jek is great. I like Jek as a character, and I like the performance from the actor. He's directed really well as well, from the looks of it. I mean, this is what, was it Graham Harper that did Caves, I think? Masterpiece. And then, I don't really care for what Morgus, when he's doing his asides, they must know something. I have to find out what they know. I don't really care for that. And his hair's slicked back, but he's got a ponytail. I just want to know why. I just want to look at him and go, why? You know, the guy who's kind of the general with the mustache, he's good. His second in command, the actor playing him and the robot of him is good. I swear that's the same actor who plays Thomas Edison in the Tesla episode of Whittaker's era. I'm not sure about that, but I think he's good. The regeneration sequence is well done. You could argue the best regeneration of classic Doctor Who, a really neat effect. Nice little intro with Colin in it, where you already get Colin's a very different Doctor from that. The episode 3 cliffhanger is legendary for a reason. Although, to be honest, the cliffhangers in this story, just each and every one of them are good. But especially that episode 3 one, showing the Doctor basically fighting off the regeneration in episode 3 because he wants to protect Perry. It's a solid story. I can see why it has the reputation it does. Next on the list is The Romans. I love The Romans. The Romans is fun. The Romans is probably the first Doctor Who story that was intended to be a comedy. Because you can tell the way it's written, it's intended to be silly fun, which it is. I love that the Doctor and Vicky keep barely missing Ian and Barbara. They just keep almost seeing each other, but not quite. I love the bit when the first Doctor pretends to be playing, and he does kind of that Emperor's New Clothes thing where it's so delicate, only the truly enlightened can hear it. And of course everyone's like, oh, that sounds beautiful. I love that. The guy playing Nero is perfect. For playing that kind of comedic, dumb, funny Nero, for comedic purposes, nails that perfectly. I love when he decides to feed him to the lions, and the first Doctor knows, and yes, we need to give them something they can sink their teeth into, and Nero comes across as like a spoiled child in this who never got told no. Because he's the Emperor, he can do what he wants. So he does whatever he wants, like a spoiled child. And the actor does such a good job of that with how he speaks the dialogue, with his facial expressions, and with his body language. And then the scene when he's chasing Barbara's hilarious. I know some people nowadays might be like, but I think it's hilarious. And I like the fact that his wife's not so good a person either, and even wants to kill Barbara because she rather likes being the queen, which I get. The sword fight with Ian and the guy that he's actually pretty good buddies with in this is really well done. A lot of 60s fighting and 60s Doctor Who was just kind of done on the fly, wasn't choreographed very well, and it looks a little rough these days, let's be honest. We let it slide, willing suspension of disbelief. But this one actually looks really good when they're going back. I remember thinking when I saw it, William's definitely been trained in this kind of sword fighting. And then later is when I found out about him and Lancelot, and I'm like, yep. Because that sword fighting between both of them is really good. The scene when he's on the ship is actually done pretty well, considering 60s budget when he's a prisoner on the ship. There's just a lot of different stuff in this episode that I like. It comes together well. I like when the guy is trying to assassinate the Doctor, and the Doctor's enjoying fighting him. And then when Vicky cuts it short, the doctor's mad. She's like, I like to engage in some good fisticuffs every now and then. I think it's easy to forget that the first Doctor can be a fighter, too. We also saw that in the Space Museum. So I think people forget that the first Doctor can put up his dukes when he wants. It's a fun, silly, funny, enjoyable story. And the sets look nice. The wardrobes, the outfits look very nice. The Romans doesn't get enough credit. Next on the list is the 11th Hour, the highest ranking 11th Doctor episode on this list. I love the 11th Hour. It's my favorite 11th Doctor story. Arguably, objectively, I think, possibly the best regeneration story we've ever gotten. Not my personal favorite, but I think it could be the best one. The Doctor really hits the ground running in this. Matt Smith is just fully formed from the go. Matter of fact, I think he's better here than he is in a lot of his later stories, even though, again, I like him. Matt's one of my favorite Doctors. But I really like how he plays the Doctor in this. Great introduction to Amy. A great trick of already making them have that bond with him meeting her as a child. Love the introduction of Rory in this as well. Author plays that role well. And so it already creates an interesting dynamic between the three of them. Love that scene when he's forcing the showdown with the aliens at the end, and you get to see all the footage of the previous Doctors. The music there is perfect. His, hello, I'm the Doctor, basically run. I love that, hello, I'm the Doctor, basically run. That's just such good delivery. And he's like solidifying himself as the Doctor right there. This episode just hits the accelerator pedal and doesn't really let up. Also, the way it introduces the new TARDIS is really well done as well, with a nice cliffhanger of seeing the wedding dress. It really does a good job setting up this era. I was very, very pleased with this story and still am to this day. Next on the list, cracking the top 20, is The Time Meddler, my favorite first Doctor story, the season finale of season 2. Fantastic story. Love the introduction of the monk. Peter Buttersworth is so good as the monk. You can tell he was a comedian. He plays this role so well. I love the dialogue between the Doctor and the monk whenever they talk in this. They just go together really well. It's interesting to finally meet another one of the Doctor's people, even though, again, they haven't been named Time Lords yet. And then the cliffhanger with the reveal that the monk has a TARDIS is an amazing cliffhanger. Especially, imagine seeing that on broadcast for the first time. And they go in there and it's a TARDIS. The monk has a TARDIS. I mean, that had to be mind-boggling for the time. That's a heck of a cliffhanger. Especially, again, for a season finale. I like all the stuff with the Vikings. Again, the guest cast are fine. I'm not saying they're super memorable, but they're fine. I like them. It's nice seeing Stephen adjusting to being part of the TARDIS team. And what do you think it is? A helmet for a cow? A space helmet for a cow, or whatever it is he says. I love the first Doctor. That's the chair, that's the console, there's the... Now sit down and stop bothering me. I love that the first Doctor has no time for sass. And don't call me Doc. And I like that bit when he's like, Doctor! I love the Time Meddler. It's such a well-done story. My favorite of the first Doctor era. Next on the list is State of Decay, my favorite season 18 story. I love State of Decay. I have never, ever hidden that. I've talked about it on the channel many times. Doctor Who does vampires. Probably the best vampire story we've gotten out of Doctor Who. I like the story of how the vampires used to be this great threat. We learn about Time Lord lore a little bit, and that the Time Lords rose up and fought them. That's one of the reasons why they were sick of war after that. The only real problems this story has is needing some updated effects in places, especially with the Great Vampire. The bit when they see it underground looks a little rough. The bit with the hand reaching out. The rocket going up and coming down. It needs a few updated effects. Not a lot, just a few. That being said, some of the effects work well. Like when the three die, that aging effect works perfectly. Works well. Don't need to touch that at all. Works good when you see them just crumple away. I love the theatrical way the three play their parts. Because they do. They play it in a very way that makes you feel like all three actors came from a theatrical background. And it fits. It does fit that story. Like when the lady vampires, she walks over. It fits. It works really well. It's kind of like, I guess, They were told, you have to act with a lordly presence, and they kind of went theatrical. It works. I like all three of their performances a lot. I like when Orkhan realizes they're Time Lords, the ancient enemies. Tom's hair looks a little weird in this. I think they had to perm it for a little bit here because he was in bad health. His hair always looks a little weird in this one. But I really enjoy this one. It doesn't feel like a season 18 story. It feels more like it belongs in like season 15. But it works so well here. I just love the horror tone of it. It's executed, for the most part, really well. Next on the list is The Five Doctors, the highest rated multi-doctor story. This one's fun. Again, much like Power of the Doctor, the plot's not exactly the most tightest written plot ever. But we don't watch The Five Doctors for the plot. We watch it for the fan service. And I mean, the story is serviceable. It's a little loose, but it's serviceable. But it's such a joy just seeing everybody back. I like the guy playing Barusa in this. He's probably my second favorite Barusa. And I do think, if you're familiar with who Barusa is and him with in his other appearances, it's still an interesting twist that he's the bad guy. It's nice to see the guy playing the Castellan from Arc of Infinity back. Anthony Ainley's always good as the Master. And it's nice how they include the Cybermen and a Dalek in, because it's the 20th anniversary. But it's so wonderful seeing all of the companions again, K9 and Sarah. Even the brief clips of like Jamie, Victoria, Mike, and Liz. I do wish we could have gotten Joe. I wonder why they didn't get Joe back. I wonder if something was just going on I don't know if Katie was already living in Australia or what was going on then. And then just seeing the old Doctors. First off, Richard Herndl is great as the first Doctor. I think Richard Herndl nails that role. I much prefer him in the role over David Bradley. While still liking David Bradley, I accept that Richard Herndl's the first Doctor. Now, maybe that's nostalgia. I saw The Five Doctors a lot as a child. It was on our PBS station, our public broadcasting station, a lot as a child. I mean, aside from that brief clip of Hartnell at the beginning, Richard Herndl was my first Doctor, probably. And so there is that. But even going back and watching now, I think he nails the role pretty well. I especially like that little laugh he does at the end when everything's over. That not quite Hartnell's laugh, but it still works. It's nice seeing, again, Susan again. I'm so amused Susan hurts her ankle. She comes back after all this time and still hurts her ankle. Poor Carol. She just can't catch a break. But it's, of course, seeing Troughton and Pertwee back is amazing. And, of course, when I was little, I didn't understand about Shada, so I thought that maybe Tom just didn't have a lot of time to film. So I had always assumed growing up that maybe he had other stuff going on, but he had come in just to film that one scene for The Five Doctors just so he could be in it, because I didn't know anything about Shada until just a few years ago. So I was always happy to have that brief clip with him, which, way before Shada's massive release worked. I mean, now when you watch it, you're just like, oh yeah, the clip from Shada, but I think back then it worked pretty effectively, at least for having Tom in the story. But, seeing Troughton and Pertwee again, my second and third favorite Doctors, it's wonderful. I especially love when Troughton first enters the scene. You're not allowed in there. Me, I'm allowed everywhere. I love Troughton. And, of course, Troughton and Pertwee still kind of continuing their little feud where they don't get along is perfect. I love that. It's just a fun celebration of Doctor Who, and it's always just such a joy to watch these characters. And, of course, getting Nicholas Courtney back as the Brigadier, it's always so endearing to see him again. It's fun. It's enjoyable, and it always puts a smile on my face. And I have 3 different ways to watch it now. The original transmission, the 90s special edition, and the 40th anniversary edition. And I like all 3. Next on the list is the Rebus Operation. You guys know I love the Rebus Operation. It's really solid. It's fun. It's Robert Holmes again. It's very well cast. We got some Prentice Hancock in that one. The guy playing the Graf Vindicate is good. The guy playing his second in command is good. The introduction to Romana is really well done. Mary Tam is great in the role. Mary Tam is my favorite Romana. And I enjoy the scene when they first meet. My name is Romana. I cannot say her full name. And he's just like, well, I'm terribly sorry about that. And he says, I'm just going to call you Romana. It's either Romana or Fred. I'd rather call you Fred. Right. Come on, Romana. I love how Tom Baker plays that. He just plays, I love how he plays the Doctor. The scene at the beginning with him meeting the White Guardian is very well done. And what happens if I refuse? Nothing? Yes, nothing. Ever. Oh, I see. I just enjoy the story. I love the guy playing Unstoff. He's great. He does strike me as that con man salesman. Now, the guy playing the other one, the kind of skinnier one, he's just okay. He's not bad. He's just okay. I never liked the Scrinstone scene with the accent, though. Never cared for that. And the guy playing Benro. I love Benro. The guy playing Benro is perfect. And I love the fact that Benro got to find out he was right before he passed. And that he was trying to help them out, despite not even knowing them. But you got a fun double act. Robert Holmes, so you got a good double act. You got a couple good double acts in this. Robert Holmes is known for his double acts. I really enjoy this one. The set design is really good as well. I really like these sets. It's just one of those stories that I always love going back to. And isn't even my favorite story of the season, but it's close. Speaking of my favorite story of the season, The Pirate Planet, this comes as a surprise to no one. Most of the people who watch my channel, I love The Pirate Planet, my favorite season 16 story. The only thing this story needs is some updated special effects. It does. If there's any story in season 16 that needs updated effects, it's Pirate Planet. That's right, even over a certain Squid story that was much further down on the list. Because Pirate Planet is like a 9 out of 10 story, and if it got those updated effects, it would be a 10 out of 10 for me. I love the story. Written by Douglas Adams. I love Douglas Adams' style of humor. I do. I love his sense of humor. I love his comedy, and it's all over this story. I love the performances. Bruce Purchase as the captain, perfect casting. He's so good in this. Mr. Fibuli! Moons of Madness, Mr. Fibuli! And now, granted, the story is done with a slightly comedic tone to it that if it had been done a little more serious would hit different. I still like the comedic tone. I do think the comedic tone kind of takes away from just how good of a character the captain is. And it's nothing against Bruce. Bruce is great. But the captain himself is a fascinating character because he's a genius. He is a genius. He built the ship that crashed. He turned the planet into this. He creates the little miniature things down there that even the Doctor's a little like, that's a crazy feat of engineering. He's actually a very smart character. He's just trapped and beholden to this, this evil queen because he's cybernetic. She has some control over him. Reading the novelization, the more newer novelization that uses some of the earlier drafts, fantastic how well he's written in that. And how well the story is expanded. There's actually a huge expansion on that story in the novel that I love, love, love. But going back to the TV episode, love the guy playing Mr. Fibuli. Love him. He's great. And the fact that when Mr. Fibuli dies, the captain is upset about it. I actually do like the fact the captain is like, he was a good man. And that he actually is unhappy and frustrated. That's telling to me. The bird effect doesn't get pulled off very well. I'll admit that. Again, needs some updated effects. And the fight scene between the bird and K9, we need some updated effects. But the idea is very well done. The Mentiats are really neat. I think they were originally called the Mourners in the earlier drafts, and I like that better. But again, some of the effects when they use their powers to create force fields or knock the Doctor down need some updating effects. The laser blast needs some updating effects because they have the wimpiest sounding lasers I've ever seen. First off, they don't even shoot lasers. They just have the little dots that appear when they're shooting. And also that little boop, 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 boop sounds they make. They don't seem that threatening to me. They need to be given actual laser blast, and they need a more manly sound. They need a laser blast sound. Those need updating. But again, the story is good. I like the story. I like the twist. Finding out the nurse is the queen. Her performance is fine. It's nothing stellar, but it's fine. How they stop her just by shooting the hologram seems a little too easy. And again, that novelization does that better. But I still like it. I like the ending as well. And the fact the location footage still survives. The location work looks really good. A really good, well put together comedic story. Next on the list is The Ark in Space, a classic story. One of the Doctor Who stories I have earliest memories of, and the first Doctor Who story I ever bought on DVD. Love this one. Love this one. Great horror story. Watching Noah slowly transforming into this thing is creepy. Even with the limited budget, it's creepy. It's funny how when I finally bought and got to watch it again for the first time in many, many years, it's like, wow. The image I had built up in my head was even scarier than what was on screen. What's on screen is still great, with the bubble wrap. But I pictured it more as a slime. It's interesting how a child's memory can fill in the blanks like that when you see The Ark in Space or something like that as a child, when you're real little, 5, 6, 7. And how your imagination can just take over with that and really push the boundaries of it and make it even scarier. And that's fascinating for me. I like the performances. We don't get a lot of the guest cast in this, but the guy playing Noah's good. The woman playing Vira is really good. We get a couple other people briefly. They're good. But I even enjoy some of the banter with Harry. You're learning, Harry. It's entirely due to my influence, of course. You mustn't take any credit. I like that. I enjoy that. And even Sarah, that one time when he keeps calling, I forget what it is he keeps calling her, my lady or dear or whatever, and she's like, you call me that one more time, I'm going to smack you. That's funny for me. I love the set of Nerva Beacon, and I think it's clever how they were able to reuse it for Revenge of the Cybermen. I think it's a nice, low-budget 70s Doctor Who set. I enjoy it. It works. I like the plot. I like the whatever the name of the creatures are in it. My mind's blanking on me. But I like them. The little slug appearance and how they the Weirin, that's it, isn't it? The Weirin. I like them as a concept. That's fascinating, how they can absorb knowledge. And then that cliffhanger when Noah's pulling his hand out. Great cliffhanger. Great cliffhanger. And then the fact there was still enough humanity left in Noah to blow up the shuttle at the end. I like it. Needs some updated effects. Yes, I know it already has some old updated effects from the original DVD release, and those look good. They're better than the original model shots, but we're due some new updated effects. It does need some of them at this point, especially since the only ones we got are exterior shots. Some of the interior stuff could use some updated effects. Other than that, classic story. Next on the list is Robots, my personal favorite post-regeneration story. Now, again, I maintain that I think the 11th Hour is probably the best, but Robot's my personal favorite. I have a huge attachment to that story. Emotionally, Tom's my favorite Doctor. I had a girl I dated one time. I showed her that story, and she really watched it, and we had a lot of funny laughs about it. She always liked the robot. She's like, it's so campy, and I love it. So I have that nice memory of that. And I do love the robot. It's obviously a guy in a suit. Oh, my creator. And then the whole King Kong thing at the end when he grows large makes no sense. And the CSO looks so bad. And then the scene when the Brigadier has the fake tank. But it's just part of the charm of that episode for me. Plus, I love the guy playing Kettlewell. His hair, I got to give points for that hair alone. But I just like the guy playing Kettlewell as Kettlewell. And then I like the woman who's running the think tank. And I like the fact it's a woman in this. I think that's kind of a revolutionary concept for the time. And how it even gets pointed out in the episode against Sarah Jane. I like her. The actress is doing a good job with it. Tom is amazing. Tom hits the ground running. I think Tom might be the best Doctor in a first story ever. Because he's just fully formed right there. Fully formed. He has serious moments in this. He has comedic moments in this. We get our very first, would you like a jelly baby? Which I absolutely love. And I like when he tells Harry that about, you wouldn't mind stepping in there, would you? Just to prove it's an illusion. Oh, well, if you'd like me to, it would make me feel a lot better. I love how Tom grins when he says that. Oh, it would make me feel a lot better. Because he knows. It has some really amusing moments in it. And some serious ones. Kettlewell, you let her go with Kettlewell. I love that. I always love when Tom gets that in his voice. It's awesome. This story's so much fun. And I'm glad we got one last kind of unit story before they set off on their own, even though we got a couple ones kind of the next season as well. I love Robot. It's always a story that puts a smile on my face. And next on the list is Heaven Sent. Heaven Sent truly is an amazing story. It deserves all of the accolades it gets. It's pretty much a one-man show for the most part. I mean, it's just Peter Capaldi proving why he is arguably the best actor to ever play the character. He is phenomenal as the Doctor. He plays this role so well. And he definitely crosses you as a Doctor you do not want to screw with or cross. He comes across as that. Just the way he does his dialogue in this guy just was born to play the Doctor just as Tom Baker was. He nails every line in this. The story is so well put together. Dealing with loss like he is dealing with it. It shows that well. It's directed very well. It's written very well. It's got a phenomenal ending. It's got a beautiful soundtrack. That Shepherd's Boy song is amazing. And then when it finally clicks in your head what is happening and what has been happening, it is a phenomenal piece of not only Doctor Who, but of television. It is one of the greatest Doctor Who stories of all time. And even if you're someone that likes classic Who and doesn't really acknowledge modern Who because of maybe some of the stuff that's happened in modern Who, this is a must stand out. You've got to see this. I think there's a lot of people who have a prejudice against modern Who might try to throw shade at this episode. But my counter argument to that is, if this had been made as a Tom Baker story or a Sylvester McCoy story or a John Pertwee story, you'd be completely on board with it. Granted, it would have been executed differently on screen. But say this had been made during the Hinchcliffe era or during season 25 or 26, people would be totally on board with this story. They'd be touting it as, well, classic Doctor Who has Heaven Sent to all the modern Doctor people. They would, because it's that good. And I don't think it's fair to hold any kind of grudge against it simply because it's made in the modern series. The modern series has its ups and downs. I mean, classic Doctor Who has its ups and downs, less downs. But modern Doctor Who does have its ups and downs, but Heaven Sent is definitely one of the highest ups. And in Doctor Who as a whole, it's one of the highest ups. It's a phenomenal piece of television that's well performed, well directed, and well written. It's just fully well executed. I absolutely love this story. And next on the list is The Empty Child and the Doctor Dances, a fantastic Stephen Moffat two-parter where part 2 definitely lives up to part 1. Once again, taking something normal in life, in this case being a small child, and making him utterly terrifying. And it works. The "Are You My Mummy" has become, a pop culture catchphrase, which is referenced in later Doctor Who stories. And just that image of the kid in the gas mask pointing and reaching out with the scar on his hand, it's terrifying. The camera work is phenomenal. Guest cast is great. The woman playing the one that turns out to be the mom, she's good. I love the guy playing Dr. Constantine. He's great. That whole scene is phenomenally good. The scar on the back of the hand, you see him look at his hand, you see the camera switch, seeing him change. And I love the comedic bit at the end when he's like, "Are you sure you only had one leg? I mean, there is a war on." That's a bit funny. But his dialogue earlier, though, when he talks about, I was a father and a grandfather, now I am neither, but I'm still a doctor, which kind of mirrors the Doctor himself, actually. Eccleston is great in this. Billy Piper is great in this. And I love the introduction of Jack, because I like Jack as a character. And he's great in this as well. It has some really good iconic imagery in it. And I love the resolution of the story. The fact he is able to save everyone. And I love his "Everybody Lives" speech. That's probably one of the greatest moments in all of Doctor Who. You can see that pure joy on the Doctor's face. Because Doctor Who is one of those shows, especially classic Who and up to this and modern Who, where people die. The Doctor can't save everyone. You look at the episode Dalek, how many people got killed? Like a couple hundred people? People die in Doctor Who. Look at Horror of Fang Rock. You don't want to be a guest character on Horror of Fang Rock. So, to have a story where he's able to save everyone, that pure joy. Because you feel it right along with it. Like if you're a Doctor Who veteran, you get that joy too, and you can understand why he has that joy. And I love the way he says that speech, just this once, everybody lives, Rose. Just this once, everybody lives. That pure joy he has and that smile on his face. It's such an epic moment. And then the fact he's even able to save Jack. I like that. And then he actually shows that he can dance. It's such a well put together episode. And I enjoy the scene when he appears at the dining table and he just kind of appears in camera with that look on his face. I love that whole scene. And then I like when she's picking at him when she's like, when he's like, my nose has special powers. And she goes, what about your, is that why your ears are like that? He's like, what? I like the little banter between them. It's a really, really good episode. Stephen Moffat, just all cylinders firing. And next on the list, just missing out of the top 10, is Day of the Daleks. Specifically the special edition, but I'm going to group all of them together. I love Day of the Daleks. I think it's a great story. I love the idea of a time paradox where the cause and the effect are the kind of the same thing, where them traveling back to prevent it is what caused it. I like that paradox. And you can't change history if you're part of it. Kind of its own kind of bootstrap paradox, I guess. I love that as an idea a lot. Matter of fact, I even believe the guy who created the Days of Futures Past said that might have subconsciously been an influence on when he came up with that story. Again, like the guest cast, we've got the guy who plays the kind of leader in the future, who I believe also played the Candyman in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, also showed up in an episode of Blake 7 Series 2 I just watched recently. Nice to see that. He's good. I like him with the silver paint, which he's also wearing in the Blake 7 episode. He's good. I enjoy him. I like the gorilla fighters from the future, especially the woman who's kind of the main one, the main female that's leading them. She's great in this. I like all of them, but she's great in this. Of course, I like, the Brigadier and Benton and all of them getting stuff to do. I like the shootout at the end, especially, again, with the special edition where they filmed new sequences with that, and they updated laser effects to where there's actually laser effects now. It just makes that final battle look a lot more climactic like they originally meant it to be. Love the updated Dalek voices. Now, I don't have a huge problem with the original Dalek voices once I adjust to them. If I'm watching the original version or the omnibus, both of which I also enjoy, of course, when they first start talking, when I first start watching the story, I'm like, I can see why they updated these. But over the course of the story, I adjust to them, kind of like, how you slowly adjust to having the radio louder in your car. I get used to it, and then once I'm used to it, it's fine. That being said, the updated voices are way better. I mean, the special edition's the best version just for the updated Dalek voices alone. They sound great. It's Nicholas Briggs, but he recorded his dialogue on analog equipment to kind of give it that vintage classic sound, which I appreciate and like. I never liked the original effect of when they used the gun, the screen just flashing white. So I like the fact we have actual laser blasts now, like green for the Ogrons and yellow for the other weapons. The sounds they make are fine. They do have a vintage 50s, 60s kind of sound to them, but they're fine. I like them well enough. Now, sometimes they put in updated special effects where they don't need any. Like when the Doctor's being chased on the little moped thing, whatever that is, and it's kind of showing like cameras tracking them. It's a little much. There's a couple fighting sequences where you see, other points of view from like the Dalek eye. Sometimes less is more, and they used more there, but it's a minor nitpick. I love the story. I love the Doctor's outfit in this. I love that velvet jacket. It looks fantastic. I think it's in this one, or did he wear that in Planet? I'm trying to remember if it's Planet I'm thinking of. I think it's this one. My mind's going blank on me. But this is a solid story, and I love the ending. I absolutely love the ending. I love the climactic battle, and I love the ending. Solid story. So, let's talk about the top 10. The top 10 Doctor Who stories, the highest rated Doctor Who stories on my list. All of them bangers, all of them S tier. We're going to start with 10th place. And that is Blink. And I know some people might roll their eyes and think it's overrated. It's not. There's a reason why Blink is a legendary episode. Now, I'm not saying Blink is like quintessential Doctor Who in the sense that it's a typical Doctor Who story. It's not. Like if someone was watching Doctor Who for the first time, I'm not saying this should be the story you show them, because it's not typical Doctor Who, but it is one of the best Doctor Who stories. I like the fact it proves that a Doctor-like Doctor Who story can work. Not the first story to do that. Mission to the Unknown also proves that very effectively. But it proves it well. I think, isn't her name Carrie? Is that her name? Carrie, the actress Carrie Mulligan or something like that? She's great. She's great in this role. And I know she's become a popular actress since. She's really good in this role. The guy playing the police officer, the young and old version of him, he's really good in this. The guy playing the brother, her best friend's brother's, gonna be honest, he's just kind of to me. He's not bad. He's just not blowing me away. And then the girl who does play her friend, I liked her in this. I enjoyed when it was cutting back and forth when she was in the past. Stop following me. No. To find out she later married him. I love the joke about how she lied about her age. She's like, you lying cow. That she had that last kind of little joke there. I love the way the story comes together. Them finding the Doctor's message as a bonus on the DVD and wondering about what that is. I wonder how many other people have found that as an Easter egg and wondered about what it was. I'd love for that to pop up in another episode randomly, like the Doctor's somewhere and somebody's just watching that Easter egg. They're like, I wonder what that is. And he's like, it'd just be a nice little throwback moment. And then finding out the angels, the angels are terrifying. The angels are a neat idea. Once again, taking that idea of something ordinary in Doctor Who and putting a Doctor Who spin on it and making them terrifying. In this case, statues, making statues scary. And then the idea that as long as you're looking at them, you're good, but as soon as you turn away or you blink, they get you. They're fast. I love that. That's a fascinating idea. That's one of those ideas you're like, ooh, I wish I'd thought of that. It's so good. And then the little sound effects with them when they move, that little shh, shh, shh. It adds to it. Those little effects and incidental music pieces add to the tension. That's a good tension, especially as things start escalating at the end. The scene when her and the Doctor are sort of communicating back and forth with the message is really well done, finding out how that's all kind of a loop. And then her actually meeting the Doctor at the end, but it's before it's happened to all of him. It's just so well put together. So well written. Again, Stephen Moffat just fires on all cylinders, and when he does, you get some amazing Doctor Who. When he doesn't have the weight of Doctor Who, Sherlock, and the Tintin movie on his shoulders, he's amazing. And so everything just comes together here. Great cast, great directing, great writing. Amazing Doctor Who. But I wouldn't call Blink Doctor Who's best horror story. I think an even better horror story is Horror of Fang Rock. A classic. Definitely feels like a holdover for the Hinchcliffe era, even though it's actually the first story of the Williams era. Definitely the best story of season 15. It is a bona fide classic S-tier Doctor Who. Basically the Doctor trapped in a lighthouse at night with something killing everyone. Are trying to kill everyone. It's just so well put together. I like this cast. Granted, the characters are a little two-dimensional in places. They come across more as archetypes, really, but I like them for the most part. The one paranoid woman who screams all the time, I was okay when she died, even if it's a weird edit when she dies, because like you see them all crowding away from the Rutan, and then in the next scene you see him killing her. That's a weird edit. Like maybe she tried to run past because she panicked and he grabbed her, but it's a really weird edit. The updated special effects for this story on the box set are nice. The original effects are also fine. I think it is a story I said needed updated effects, but the original effects are fine. The updated effects are an improvement. Although the scene when the Doctor confronts the Rutons on the steps, I don't like with the updated effects. The Rutan covers up more of Tom when he's talking, and it just feels like it messes up the nature of the shot, the composite nature of a shot, because it felt like the original version is shot at a really well angle. where you have the Rutan kind of here in the foreground and then the Doctor talking to it as he's kneeled down. And that works, whereas with the updated special effects, since the Rutan is taking up more space, you don't see the Doctor as well, and it doesn't quite flow as smoothly for me. Other than that, I prefer the updated effects. I do love the redesign for the Rutan as well. That's a much better design, I think. But I enjoy the story. Leela is great in this. I like how they do the explanation for why Louise Jameson doesn't have to wear the contacts anymore. I think Tom Baker is fantastic in this. I think it's got some good cliffhangers. I thought we locked it out, but I locked it in with us. Great cliffhanger. The imagery looks really good. It has that horror atmosphere tone vibe to it. It's just a phenomenal piece of Doctor Who. And next on the list is The Talons of Wing Chiang. Tom Baker's best season finale. A classic story. I love Tom's outfit. That Sherlock Holmes outfit is fantastic. I'm glad they used it on the cover of season 14 here. Looks absolutely great. Love that shot. And then I just like the story. Kind of a Jack the Ripper style story. I like the character of Magnus Grill, and I'm glad they didn't just make him the Master like they were originally thinking about doing. I like that he's his own character. Love his backstory, by the way. Being from the future, but his time travel wasn't exactly foolproof, as we see. My favorite part is him learning that it doesn't work, that it's a flawed, that it's a cul-de-sac, as the Doctor puts it. I love that. Just that's such a good burn. And then the reveal of Grell, what he looks like with his mask off, that's some really impressive makeup. I mean, even by modern standards, that's some impressive makeup, but especially by classic Doctor Who, just it looks like he's melted like wax. That's really impressive. The idea that he has to drain the energy like that to live is a fascinating idea. I think the character of Chang is performed well, and I understand that that casting is controversial. Not just today, but even to some people at the time. I remember Canada banned the episode back in the 80s, I believe. And, I'm not here to tell you, what you should and shouldn't be offended by. I'm not bothered by it. I get that's just how television was made back then. With, of course, casting a white person in a non-white role. That was just, with makeup, that's just how shows were made back then. So I don't have an issue with it like some people would. I mean, anyone who has an issue with that should have an issue with Isaac Newton being played by like an Indian guy in Wild Blue Yonder. You can't sit here and be okay with that, especially in this modern time where we know that's inappropriate and we wouldn't do casting like that now, or shouldn't. But they still did casting like that and everybody's fine with it. So I don't want to hear a word about the casting in Talons of Wing Chiang when that's just how they did casting back then. At least that's my take on it personally. If you feel different, that's fine. But the story is fantastic. I love the nighttime shooting. I like Jago and Lightfoot. I love having Christopher Benjamin and Trevor Baxter back. They are fantastic together. Love the fact that they got to do a lot of Big Finish audios together before they both passed. I think we lost Trevor in 2017, and Christopher, I think, passed away either last year or the year before. They're both great in their roles. I love the scene when Trevor's trying to eat with Leela, and she just picks up the food, and he just kind of looks at her and picks it up as well. It's a funny scene. It's a great season finale, and it feels like a season finale. Also, I like the updated effects. They look nice for the hypnotizing and the rat. I mean, they weren't that big of a deal for me in the original version. I can watch the original effects easily. But the updated effects are a nice little touch. Next on the list is Dalek. One of the best Dalek stories of all time. Sometimes I argue the best of all time. Dalek was a great reintroduction of the Daleks, especially an introduction for a new audience. The first Dalek story of the modern series. It really does a good job showing how deadly one Dalek can be. It remembers that the Daleks are dangerous, that the Daleks are intelligent, that the Daleks are manipulative. I like the fact it remembers they're a genius and that they can manipulate, the way it tricks Rose. You have some good confrontations between the Doctor and the Dalek. It's never felt quite as personal for the Doctor and the Daleks, as it does right here, being our first Dalek story post-Time War, when the Doctor's lost basically everything. And that confrontation when they first talk, and you see the Doctor going from fear to rage, just that rage that he's probably been holding in. I mean, imagine seeing, you know, this one relic of your greatest enemies, the enemies that you had to stop, but it cost you your entire people, everybody, your planet. And then suddenly there's one right there. You know, imagine the fury you would feel. And Christopher Eccleston sells it. And then later, you know, when he tells it, you know, why don't you just die? And you see the spit flying from his mouth. And the Dalek's like, you would make a good Dalek. It's a great scene together. The guest cast are good. I like the guy playing Van Statten. He plays that role well. And then his second in command, the girl, the one that turns on him at the end, she's great. I mean, the guy playing Alex or whatever his name is, Little Fauntleroy. He's good. I like him in this. I mean, he's good in the next episode as well, but I like him in this. And then I just like the story. Watching one Dalek do this much damage with an ending you don't see coming. And remembering the fact that the Daleks, at their core, they like to remain pure. They don't want to be contaminated, so that actually plays in the ending when the Dalek's like, nah, pass, order my destruction, no. And how even the Doctor realizes it. Isn't that a good thing? Not for a Dalek. And he even tells the Dalek, you know, I'm sorry, because he realizes how hard that is on the Dalek, because the Dalek's like, ooh. It's a solid story. Love the new Dalek design. Nicholas Briggs is great as the voice of the Dalek. And again, I love the fact that it shows how dangerous one Dalek can be. I tend to like when Dalek stories scale the Daleks back a bit like that. And next on the list is Gridlock, the highest ranking modern Doctor Who story. My favorite modern Doctor Who story is Gridlock. And it's very telling that it makes it up to number 6 on the list. I love this story. It is quintessential Doctor Who to me because, like, you know, some people when they're like, oh, you have to watch Doctor Who, it's so good, you need to see Blink. And as I've said, Blink's not really a typical Doctor Who story, but I feel like Gridlock feels like a more standard Doctor Who story. Like, if you want to give someone a good flavor of what Doctor Who's like, Gridlock's a good episode to show them. First off, I do like the nod to the Macra, even though I had no idea what the Macra was the first time I watched it. I like the look of the story, the visual nature of it I like. It's got some humorous bits in it. It's got some serious bits in it. I loved learning that's where the Doctor got his coat was from Janis Joplin. I like that. I like all of the different personalities in the cars. Just the different personalities, the married ladies, the guy who's in like the expensive suit. You got the nudist. And of course you got Brannigan and his wife. Also, I love the fact that the guy who plays Brannigan, I know that actor. He used to play in another show called My Hero, where he has like superpowers and stuff. I don't know the actor's name, but I liked My Hero. And he's got a very distinctive voice. So I was able to recognize, hey, that's Brannigan. And the cat makeup on him is done really well, too. Great way to bring back Novice Hane. And a great way to bring back the Face of Bo. I love that scene at the end with the Face of Bo and that version of the Face of Bo theme. And again, Martha hasn't been traveling with him long, so she doesn't know much about him. So at the beginning when she mentions about wanting to go to his world, he's like, nah. And you can tell he's uncomfortable talking about Gallifrey, so he lies to her about it. I like the music in this one a lot. The incidental music in this story is really, really good. And I like, again, the visual style, the visual flair. I love the way this episode, I don't know who directed this episode, but I love the way it was directed. The visuals look very impressive to me. Learning about what happened there with the new medicine and how that, or the bliss patch, and how that ties into what we saw at the beginning of the episode. And that the Face of Bo had been standing guard all that time, waiting on him to come back, you know, giving his life energy to keep things moving. And the Doctor was able to fix it so easily, almost. And then, you know, the Face of Bo dying, us getting the tease that you're not alone, which pays off later. And then I really love the ending scene with the Doctor talking to Martha about Gallifrey. Because I love Martha. She's a great companion. Freema is great. And I like that she stands up for herself. So I like the fact she pulls up the chair and is like, nope, I'm not going until you talk to me properly. And then when he starts to tell her about Gallifrey, it's a great performance from David right there. The way he says those lines about, I lied to you because I liked it. You know, I could believe for a minute they're still alive. And he talks about, you know, the sky was a burnt orange and the leaves were so, it's beautiful. And she's like, when she asks what happened to it, he goes, there was a war and, you know, we lost. Everybody lost. My people fought a race called the Daleks. You know, and you should have seen that old planet. And the way the camera pans up while he's talking, it's a beautiful ending. I love that ending. And it's just a fun trip every time I watch this one. It's just a perfect storm of everything coming together for me. Good performances, a good story, great directing, good visuals, great incidental music. My favorite modern Doctor Who story. Which leaves us with the top 5. The top 5 Doctor Who stories of all time. All classic stories. Hard to beat these top 5. And we're going to start with Genesis of the Daleks. What a classic. What a legendary story. This is kind of the standard. This is always the story that people who started with the modern series or who only watch the modern series, this is the one they're going to hear about. This is the one that they're going to hear they need to see, or the one that's legendary, or the one that's like the greatest ever. If there's a classic Who story that's going to get mentioned to you, you need to watch, more than any other, it's going to be Genesis of the Daleks. And it earns that. I'm not saying that it's overrated. It's not. It is a phenomenal S-tier story. One of the greatest Doctor Who stories of all time. Tom Baker's performance is great in it. Elizabeth Sladen is good in it. Ian Marter is good in it. And then you have such a good guest cast. Peter Miles is phenomenal as Niter. Easily my favorite Peter Miles role I've ever seen him in. He just nails that. And it's very obvious in Genesis that the Khalids are, of course, modeled after the German World War II people, let us say. It's very obvious. Peter Miles does a really good job of understanding the assignment and nailing that in his performance. He does. And you just don't trust him at all. Michael Wisher is fantastic as Davros. Great introduction story for Davros. Michael Wisher is still my favorite Davros. He is phenomenal in the role here. Every scene that the Doctor and Davros share together is gold. Is absolutely gold. In the bit when the Doctor gives him that hypothetical situation about crushing the pill to release the virus, that's when you realize just how nuts Davros is when he's like, yes, I would. You realize he's bonkers. And even the Doctor's probably like, yep, that's what I thought. But even the other scientists, like the one scientist who's first interviewing the Doctor, the older one with the white hair, you know, I like the actor playing him. Gorman, I like the guy playing him. Some of the Khalid, the Thal people, I like the people playing them. I like the fact that, unlike what we see in other stories, it doesn't paint the Khalids completely as the bad guys and the Thals completely as the good guys. They each have good and bad people in it. There are people on the Khalid side who are good people, who want to stop Davros. And there are people on the Thal side who are good, but people on the Thal side who are, no, we have to stop the retribution. So it really does feel like two sides who are just so sick and tired of fighting that they want it to be over and they want to end it the quickest way possible because they've been fighting for so long that they're just sick of it and tired of it. The location work looks really good for this story. I love the scene with the Doctor standing on the mine and the gas mask, the guy in the gas mask getting shot. The set designs look really good. I think it's paced very well at 6 parts, though there is an omnibus version of it. If that's more for you, you can watch the omnibus version of it. I do think it's paced pretty well. I like how it remembers that there are people who are mutated in this, which has been referenced in other stories, with different mutations running around. And then, of course, the Do I Have the Right speech, which, of course, is one of the most iconic speeches in all of Doctor Who. You could argue that's the Fourth Doctor's, defining moment. It is an amazing speech, a great ending. It's just a wonderful Doctor Who story. And even though the Daleks themselves aren't in this story a lot, The threat of the Daleks looms all over this story, like a shadow casting over it, and you know they're coming. So when they do, show up at the end and they're doing their own thing, you're like, yep, that's the Daleks. And, it's so ironic how they turn on Davros at the end, because he's not a Dalek, naturally. He made them to, put the Daleks first, kill everything else. He's not a Dalek. And if there's a part of me that wishes Davros had never come back, because what a way for a creator to go out, being destroyed by his creation, which is exactly what he set out to make, but not exactly what he set out to make, if you get what I mean. What a way for them to take him out. It's, like almost a poetic justice. And there's a part of me that wish he'd never came back, even though he's great in a lot of later stories as well. Genesis is a legend, rightfully so. And next on the list is The Power of the Daleks. What I rank as the best Dalek story. It's really hard to pick between Power of the Daleks, Genesis of the Daleks, and Dalek. They are the top three for me. Power of the Daleks impresses me that it can be so amazing and still be completely missing. The animation does a really good job. I do like the original 2016 animation. Of course, I even more love the 2020 animation. Does a really good job bringing this story to life, but is a testament to just how well David Whittaker wrote this story and how well David Whittaker understood the Daleks, that this story can rank so high despite being completely missing aside from a few clips. I love this story. A great post-regeneration story with Patrick Troughton, again, the first post-regeneration story. So this had a lot it had to do. This is the first Doctor Who story to have a doctor in it that's not William Hartnell. So Hartnell is gone, and we have Patrick Troughton here. And Patrick Troughton, of course, is having to learn the role, get into the role. We're having to adjust to him as an audience. Watching Ben and Polly adjusting to him is pretty much the same way the audience were. You had some of the audience that probably felt more like Ben, some of the audience who felt more like Polly. I like that. I like the guest characters a lot. The animation does a good job, along with the surviving audio, of showing how well David Whittaker wrote them. I feel like they're written very well and performed very well, from what I can get from the audio. Love the character of Lesterson. Huge props to the actor playing Lesterson. He's great. I really like the Patrick in this because he's a lot different. He's a lot different than Hartnell. I like the fact that he went that direction. What are you doing here? What's your job here? To examine. I like that. And then watching the manipulative nature of the Daleks and how they manipulate things. I love when people remember the Daleks are geniuses and that they manipulate. I love that. And I don't know if there's anyone who understands the Daleks as good as David Whittaker, even Terry Nation. And it's well-paced. I think this is a well-paced story, a good slow build. And I also love the B-plot with the internal politics going on in the colony itself. Always throws me off a little bit that they're on a planet called Vulcan. It does throw me off a bit. But other than that, a solid story with a really, really good ending. A bit of a Deus Ex Machina ending, to be fair. But other than that, a pretty solid ending. And number 3 on the list is Inferno. I love Inferno. If you watch my channel, you know I love Inferno. My favorite Pertwee story. Obviously one of my favorite stories of all time. Inferno is so good. It's perfectly balanced at 7 parts. I know some people might try to say it's a little too long. It's not. Everything is balanced. Watching Inferno is like watching the most talented juggler on the planet. Just boom, constantly going, never missing a beat, all these balls up in the air at one time, never ever slowing down, and never ever even looking like he's going to drop one. It balances its plots so well. I love everything going on with the Primoids, the werewolf guys. I mean, my biggest complaint about the whole story is that the teeth on the Primoids don't look real. They don't look real. That's literally my biggest problem with the story. And of course, none of the original Masters survive. Granted, the special edition and the Blu-ray version look really good. But yes, I wish the original Masters survived. I love the location work. Watching John Pertwee scale around up top and everything, especially knowing that John didn't like heights very much. You had some great stunts like the unit soldier falling off the top. That's crazy. The MVP of the story is definitely the fire extinguishers. I like how there's just randomly fire extinguishers laying around right when they need one. It's a little plot convenient, but that's a minor nitpick. And then you have the whole parallel Earth thing, which I love for multiple reasons. One, it's a great way to expand out the story to make it fit the 7 episodes, which is why it was included. But also, it's really neat seeing this very Orwellian Earth, where one, it gives our actors a chance to play the same but different characters, really different characters, because of course the brigade leader is very different from the brigadier, and Liz is very different from our Liz. Matter of fact, I do believe Carolyn is on record for saying that she liked playing the alternate version of Liz more than she liked playing the regular version of Liz, which, you know, I like the alternate version of Liz. She's cool. I like the actor who plays, oh, my mind is going blank. The main scientist, Professor Stallman. Stallman, yes. The actor who plays him is really good in this. Both versions of him. He just plays that character so well. I like the guy playing Sutton. He's really good in this. And Petra, who is Douglas Camfield's wife. She was very good in this as well. And then I like the alternate Earth gives them a reason to show the Doctor failing. Because he fails to save that Earth. Keep in mind, that Earth is just as real as the Earth in the normal Doctor Who universe. You know, billions of people on it. And the Doctor fails. He fails. You know, if he'd just been maybe a little quicker. But he fails. And because of that, the planet is destroyed. And the Doctor has to live with that guilt, which he does. We find out in The Mind of Evil, he's still suffering from the fact that that world was destroyed and he couldn't prevent it. It still bothers him. So it's nice that it gives us an excuse to see the Doctor lose. And then, of course, you know, the Doctor coming back to our universe and able to save it in time, to stop the drilling in time. And you got some good cliffhangers there. Him ending up in the parallel universe, the lava about to flood in, which I think ends episode 6. You know, very high tense, very high stakes cliffhangers. You know, and I think it's the episode 4 or so cliffhanger, when Pertwee has one of my favorite lines in all of Doctor Who. Do you hear that sound? That's the sound of this planet screaming out its rage. I love that. That's the sound of this planet screaming out its rage. You know, the only thing that frustrates me about that is that the alarms are going off so loud you can't actually hear the line that well, because he's trying to shout over the alarms, and that always annoys me slightly. But I just love that line. It's such a good line. I love Inferno. It just does everything perfect for me. Top tier Doctor Who. So let's talk about number 2. Pyramids of Mars. What a legendary story. This is a perfect storm of everything coming together well. We have a story that's basically a page 1 rewrite from Robert Holmes. It's Robert Holmes, the greatest Doctor Who story writer ever. We have Tom Baker on fire in this one. I love Tom's performance. Elizabeth Sladen is amazing in this one. Them together, their rapport together is great in this one. We have Michael Sheard back. Definitely a Doctor Who veteran. He's good in this. The guy playing his brother, Marcus, he is phenomenal. Considering he's having to play a walking corpse. The makeup, of course, is doing its part to help too. But his performance really does nail that. The guy who plays Warlock is good. What a cool last name is that? Warlock. I wish that was my last name. That's an awesome last name. But he's good. And then, of course, Gabriel Wolfe as Sutek. That voice. He does so much with that voice. And I love how he takes that quiet approach with Sutek. Kind of the opposite of, say, Stephen Thorne doing Omega. Sutek talks in almost that whisper. But it communicates how deadly he is well. The story does a good job between Gabriel Wolfe's performance and the dialogue of the story explaining how much of a threat he is at effectively communicating just how deadly and dangerous Sutek is. One of the toughest villains the Doctor has ever faced. Even the guy playing the kind of poacher type, I like him. I wish he's in the story more, and I don't like how he gets taken out by the zombies just pressing their chests together. I wonder if he found a monkey's paw, and his wish was, I wish I could get stuck between, two really nice plump chests. And, it's a monkey's paw wish, so the mummies crushed him. I don't know. But the actor playing, he's good in this. This doesn't really have a large cast, and it pulls it off really well. That episode 1 cliffhanger, when you see dude walk out of the portal and kill the other guy with the smoke coming off his hands, the smoke off his feet, him leaving tracks in the carpet, those little details are what separate the good Doctor Who stories from the amazing Doctor Who stories. The updated effects are nice. I like the fact that the season 13 box set actually lets you watch the episodic version of it with the updated effects that were also in the Tales of the TARDIS version. That's really nice. The original effects look fine, for the record. I think the original effects are fine. The one thing I wish they'd added that they didn't was some updated effects for the force field. I do kind of wish that. It's not a necessity. It works. It's just a force field you can't see. But some of the fan edits have done some nice effects for the force field. But the story is just so good. I mean, it has its comedic moments, which I like. And I like how impressed Tom is with Michael Sheard's character. The fact he managed to invent the radio thing so early, and he was generally admiring. That's quite impressive, Professor. And then when he's at the TARDIS, you mind if I look around, please? And the Doctor has this smile, because he likes seeing kind of a fellow scientist just be like a kid in a candy store, which is how Michael Sheard's playing it. And, and then, of course, how Tom acts kind of not so trusting of him when he realizes he can't trust him, which is understandable. No, you stay here. Stay here. I like that. These special effects shot when you see Marcus Scorman get shot and then the smoke just... And then he walks to the window and realizing they had to film all of that backwards. That's impressive. They pulled that off really well. I love the final confrontation. I mean, even before that, the dialogue between the Doctor and Sutekh is great. The scene when the Doctor distracts him and you see the explosions pop up and then you get the... And you just see Tom, That's a great shot of him screaming in pain. Great cliffhanger. This story has some really good cliffhangers. That whole bit about, Neil. No, I will not. I like that. And then he forces him to kneel. The fact that Sutekh can even control a Time Lord. And that the only reason Sutekh loses is his own hubris. Thinking he's so much more powerful than, everyone else that he just kind of... he thinks he kills the Doctor, but then when he releases him and kills him, he doesn't give it another thought, and the Doctor's able to outsmart him. I love the fact the Doctor wins by outsmarting him, by remembering the time differential of that 2 minutes for the being to get down to Earth, and that the Doctor is able to trap him in the loop, in the time corridor, not the time vortex, Russell. The time corridor. And that he manages to extend the other end of the corridor, and basically ages Sutekh to death. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. It's a great ending. Sutek's a great one-off villain, and which is what he should have stayed, a one-off villain. Big Finish Audio aside, a one-off villain. And when they brought him back, keeping in mind, Empire of Death was toward the very bottom of the list. Second from the bottom, third from the bottom. It was almost right at the bottom. It just goes to show they should have left Sutekh alone. Because the Fourth Doctor defeating him here is just so much better. He just outthought him. And what a solid ending. The time of the Osirans is over, Sutekh. Go. And I like that go as he turns it all. I love this story. I love the look of it. I love the location work. I love the cast. I love the directing. I love the writing. It's essential Doctor Who. Every Doctor Who fan should see Pyramids of Mars because it's one of the best. The shining jewel of what is arguably the greatest season in all of Doctor Who was season 13. And number 1 on the list, just barely edging it out, City of Death. Douglas Adams' fingerprints are all over this story. He did co-write the story. It definitely has Douglas Adams' sense of humor. I love City of Death. It's just fun. It's funny. It's fun. It's very well cast. Love the location work in Paris. The location work in Paris looks absolutely gorgeous. And I'm glad the cast and crew got to have them a sort of holiday in Paris. That's nice. Love having Julian Glover in it. He's great. The actress playing his wife in it, she is fantastic. And of course, Duggan. I love Duggan. One of the greatest companions that never was. You know, Duggan is awesome. I like the Dr. Romana and Duggan as a trio. They're awesome. And how Duggan's solution is just to punch everything. And now that turns out to be the right choice. I also like the guy playing the scientist. The kind of, I almost swear it's Jerry Lewis playing him. He always makes me think of him. The little scientist that creates the teleporter. I like the mask. The little mask Julian Glover wears. That's pretty cool. I like the alien Scaroth. I love the story with the time travel and Scaroth being splintered in time and able to communicate that way and shaping history. And the fact that it was his accident that caused humanity to begin and he was trying to stop it. The special effects of the model work there at the beginning of that looks really, really good. My favorite scene in all of Doctor Who is in this, when the Countess is confronting the Doctor. Well, why was she following? Well, you're a beautiful woman, probably. That might be my favorite Doctor quote ever. Well, you're a beautiful woman, probably. I love that line. Who sent you, Doctor? Who sent me what? That whole scene is just gold for me. I love that scene of just the Doctor trying to act. You know, it kind of reminds me of Troughton, you know, when he would try to play dumb. Of course, the Fourth Doctor does it in a different way. And, of course, I love Romana figuring out the puzzle box just like that. Oh, I got it. Duggan, put that down. That's a Louis XVI. I love that. Yes, would you be kind so to show us to the dungeon? Thank you. Yes, right this way. You know, you're really going to have to stop punching everyone while I'm trying to talk to them, or knocking everyone out while I'm trying to talk to them. I like that. And then when he actually punches Scaroth at the end, that might be the most important punch in history. I love City of Death. I love Douglas Adams' style of humor. And it bleeds over into season 17 in the script editing. I mean, Shada has it, Pirate Planet, which also ranked very highly, has it. And City of Death is just the gold standard. And it's still the Doctor Who story with the highest viewing figures of all time as well, which pleases me. A phenomenal piece of Doctor Who. I love everything about it. So that's me ranking Doctor Who. I want to know what you think of the top 25 and what you think of the list as a whole. And if you've enjoyed this video series, comment down below and tell me all about it. Don't forget all the other fun stuff. Links to the Patreon down there. Links to the Amazon wishlist. Links to the Amazon UK wishlist. The P.O. boxes down there. Love getting fan mail. Still need to get some more of these standard edition collector's sets. I think I still need seasons 17, 24, 20, and 15. If someone wants to send one of those, I love those. I want to give a shout out to some of my top tier patrons, Colin Coney, Unknown289, Finn Perkins, and Androzani Major. I appreciate their support, as I do the support of all of my patrons. Most importantly, thank you for watching.